Silver Ridge, Oregon, clung to the mountains like a stubborn old postcard, pine forests rising behind rows of faded houses, a main street lined with diners and thrift stores. It was the kind of town where gossip moved faster than the river that split the valley, and everyone claimed to know everyone else. In the spring of 2003, that sense of certainty was shattered when Emily Carter vanished. Emily was 27, a kindergarten teacher whose students adored her. She wore her dark hair in a loose braid and smelled faintly of chalk and lavender soap. She lived in a small yellow house at the end of Alder Street with her shepherd mix, Luna. People said her smile had a way of making you feel as if you'd been truly seen. For a while, her neighbors thought she had found happiness with Daniel Whitmore. Daniel had arrived in Silver Ridge a decade earlier to run his late father's timber business. Broad-shouldered, clean-shaven, always neatly pressed even on Sundays, he played the part of the model citizen, sponsoring school fundraisers, donating new swings for the playground. But Emily's best friend, Claire, had always been uneasy around him. She remembered the first time she met Daniel at the Corner Cup Cafe. "Claire, this is Daniel," Emily had said brightly. Daniel shook her hand, but didn't quite meet her eyes. "Pleasure," he murmured, then glanced at his watch. Months passed. Claire began noticing the subtle shifts, Emily skipping book club nights because Daniel doesn't like me driving late, a bruise on Emily's wrist, brushed off as a fall on the porch steps. One rainy February night, Emily arrived at Claire's apartment with damp hair clinging to her face. "I don't think I can stay with him," she whispered, her hands wrapped around a mug of tea. Claire leaned forward. "Then leave. Tonight. Don't wait." Emily shook her head. "I just need a little time to figure it out. After spring break. I'll go then." Those words would echo in Claire's memory for years. 2 weeks later, Emily was gone. On the morning of March 14th, Emily's kindergarten class sat strangely quiet. She hadn't called in sick. No substitute had been arranged. By dusk, a neighbor across the street saw Luna pacing in front of the yellow house, whining at the porch. When officers entered, they found her purse on the kitchen counter, her car in the driveway, her phone by the bedside charger. No forced entry. No struggle. Just a faint chemical tang in the air. Detective Grant Mercer, a seasoned investigator with 25 years on the force, stood in the living room scanning the spotless surfaces. "Too clean," he muttered to his partner. The house smelled of bleach, though there was no evidence of a crime. Daniel arrived later that evening, calm and sharply dressed despite the hour. "Emily left me 2 nights ago after an argument," he explained smoothly. "She said she needed time to think. I assumed she went to her sister's." Mercer studied him. "And the bleach?" Daniel's brow arched. "I like things neat." News spread fast. At Miller's Diner, the morning crowd fell into hushed conversation over coffee refills. At the school, teachers pinned Emily's photo near the front office. Children left crayon drawings of Luna beside it. Search parties combed the trails along the riverbank, calling her name for days. Nothing turned up, not a shoe, not a scrap of clothing. The investigation stalled. Daniel's alibi seemed airtight. A bartender swore he'd been at the sports bar that night, eating pizza during the late game. Security cameras confirmed it. The district attorney finally told Mercer, "Suspicion isn't evidence. We can't take this to court." Claire was unconvinced. She printed flyers and spent her weekends handing them out in nearby towns. One cold evening, she intercepted Daniel outside his office. "Where is she, Daniel?" she demanded. His eyes lingered on hers, unreadable. "You're grieving, Claire. Don't let it cloud your judgment." He walked away without another word. Years slipped by. The yellow house changed owners. Luna went to live with Emily's sister. The case remained an open wound in Silver Ridge, whispered about at barbecues and town hall meetings, but never resolved. In the summer of 2013, a young couple bought Daniel's old property. While renovating the basement, they tore down a rotting wooden shelf. Beneath the concrete floor, they struck something hollow. Expecting an old pipe, they pried open the slab and uncovered a shallow pit. Inside lay brittle fragments of bone and the corroded clasp of a gold necklace. When police called Emily's sister to identify the jewelry, her voice broke. "That's hers," she said. "She never took it off. I gave it to her on her 21st birthday." Detective Mercer, now retired, returned to the scene. "I knew we'd find her here," he told Claire quietly as officers taped off the site. But relief soon turned to frustration. The state crime lab reported that the remains had been soaked in a chemical strong enough to erode bone. No usable DNA could be recovered. Without scientific confirmation, they still couldn't prove the remains belonged to Emily Carter. When U.S. Marshals tracked Daniel to a rented beachfront villa in Belize, he was tanned and relaxed, sipping his morning coffee. Extradited to Oregon, he walked into the courthouse flanked by lawyers, wearing the same unnervingly calm expression he'd worn a decade earlier. The trial gripped national headlines. Claire sat silently behind the prosecution as the attorney laid out the case. The $500,000 life insurance policy Daniel had taken out on Emily, his alleged affair, the damning internet searches on how to dissolve human remains. But each piece of evidence was circumstantial. The defense attorney's closing words were chillingly simple. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the state cannot even prove Emily Carter is dead." The jury deliberated for 3 days. On the 4th, the foreman admitted they were hopelessly deadlocked. The judge declared a mistrial. Daniel walked free. As he passed Claire, their eyes met, his gaze cool, hers blazing with anger. Today, Daniel Whitmore lives once again in Belize, near a strip of white sand and turquoise water. He is in his mid-40s now, wealthier than before, untouched by the justice that slipped through Silver Ridge's fingers. Every March, Emily's former colleagues place a small bouquet on the steps of her old classroom. Claire often stands there in silence, wondering if her friend's laughter still lingers somewhere in the breeze off the mountains. Some in town claim the case was doomed by flawed investigations and bad luck. Others believe it was Daniel's meticulous planning that made it the perfect crime, perfect enough to let a guilty man walk free and leave a good woman's story unfinished.